All right, well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family relationships, and recaps, reviews, and commentary on some of our favorite TV shows. This one is dedicated to season 14 of Married at First Sight, Boston edition. So if this is content that you enjoy, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, request notifications,
and share.
And as always, we will see you in the comments. Listen, lots of stuff going on in this episode. There were some cringe-worthy moments, in my opinion. But let's just kind of dig into. Let's start with the tornado storm that is Mark and Lindsay. She picks up. Basically, she's starting off with a video call with her friend, and tells that, they haven't had any sex for 14 days.
I would not tell my friend that.
Yeah.
Period, comma.
Yeah.
No comma. No
oversharing is a thing and not a thing you need to do in your marriage.
Right.
Period.
Especially when you're at the beginning, you get married at first sight. So let's just keep it brief.
Exactly. But evidently there was at least a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of moment that she was not satisfied with. But he was like, I'm good. I can go another 14 days.
Well, because if you're telling people that you're a mama's boy, you're telling me all this, or telling the producers this, yelling out loud, what's going to make me be intimate with you?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right.
I can see why he would be intimate after you're just you're just being very insensitive.
Yes.
And you are not treating him like a husband would want to be treated.
Right.
So.
Because he's like, basically what she tells her friend is that he wants the emotional connection, and she belittles that. She's like, well, what is that? What does that mean? And so her friend even was like, you need to slow down. You need, if this is going to work, you need to slow down. Because she's like, yeah, I know how you can be, basically.
Right.
So, so at least we see the experts pop up this time again. So Dr. Viviana is making her rounds. She popping all through the apartment complex. And she asks, how things gone? And he's like, it's been an interesting 3 weeks. And so this Dr. Viviana's specialty, I guess, is she's a marriage and family therapist. So I think she's the one who's like really wanting to get the intimacy.
Because she understands there has to be emotional and sexual intimacy for them to get to another level, right? Right. And she knows that intimacy starts with the emotional. Right. And the emotional level first. Right. And then it gets to the physical level. Right.
For it to last, the emotional connection has to be there. Correct. The physical portion, if we're honest, that can be pretty easy. Right. But the emotional portion is the part that will help to make that this has a better chance of lasting. Correct. And so she asks, and he's about to speak, and she's like, it's dead. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, what do you mean by that? Right. And she just continues. He doesn't do it for me. And so Dr. Viviana is like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but you don't have to be so rude about it.
Right. And then she started talking and she's like, you don't know how not to be rude. So what are you trying to say?
Right. Because that's the thing that irritates me about Progressive Karen, is that she can be very condescending, very rude. And she just says stuff that it's like you just have no filter. You just, whatever thought crosses your little mind comes out.
Right. And if you're saying you want him to be intimate with you, again, if you're making those comments, why should he try? Right. And so since you're going to make comments, I'm not going to share my dick with you. Oops, I did say that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So you need to be nicer. Yep. And just say, hey, something's going on where we're not connecting. Right. Intimacy-wise. Yep. And I want that. Say you desire that. Because doing the opposite gets you no closer to whatever climax you want.
Right.
So let's be adults.
Yep.
And find a better way to ask for what you want without trying to demean somebody.
Right. So then, they do get past that, through all of that. They have a Nerf fight, which was kind of cute.
Yeah, that's good that, again, you're trying to relieve stress.
Right.
You're trying to get back on the same page. And everything's been so heavy.
But I think I think the Nerf gun was just kind of a substitute for what she wanted to do at times, because she was trying to do a drive-by on him, and
look,
she was coming out of closets.
I would have taken that gun and let Mark get all the energy out he wanted to get on her, you know, and really I'm going to make you a target tonight.
Yep.
And so I'm glad they had fun. I'm glad they're trying to work out their differences, which is important, right? Because there's always somebody for somebody.
Right.
If you take the time to really just pay attention and just be nice. Just be a kind person.
Absolutely. So they do get a gift from Dr. Viviana, an intimacy basket. And it was some stuff in there. Some candy underwear.
Yeah, candy underwear.
It wasn't like your typical edible underwear. It was like the candy on a string that you had.
It was made like a G-string.
But it was it wasn't like Fruit roll-ups type or whatever. It was like candy on a string type stuff.
Okay. Works same difference.
It works for them. Okay.
Same difference.
But then they pull out the ball gags and she's full on with it. He's like, it hurts my teeth. He's like, nah, I ain't doing this.
He has a very small mouth. It looks like
he got big eyes and a small mouth. So
he was doing the best he could, but at least he was participating.
Right.
That's what you got to say about Mark. He is trying to participate. He's trying to be present. He's trying to say, I really want this marriage to work.
Yep.
And he's not insulting her.
No.
To try to get what, he's kind of sometimes cowardly.
He does some passive aggressive.
Oh, he does some passive. Okay, I give him that.
Insults of her. He does, like we talked about, I think it was last week, a week before, when he said, there's a very nice person deep down inside.
Right.
So he takes pot shots, but they're not digs like she does. She hits below the belt.
Right.
He taps and runs.
Right.
All right. So then Steve and Noe.
Yes.
Steve, no jobs.
So we gotta talk about this no job thing. So, because she was explaining how she felt not secure by him not having a job.
Right.
And he was like, you don't have faith I could get a job or work? She's like, well, since I know you haven't worked. So I can't trust that.
Right. And
so Dr. Vivian is like, okay, but what is it about him not working? He's saying, I'm cleaning the house. I'm making sure dinner's clean.
Right.
He has enough savings to take care of you.
Right.
So, I just never had anyone who didn't work. So I'm trying to figure out, is it the stigma of him just not being a man and not working?
Right.
Because obviously to get the savings he had to work.
Right.
So I don't mind if you're saying we're only getting a small perspective. Is he's telling her or just trying to reassure her, I got enough money, I'm not going to tell you what it is?
Right.
Because I could know he might got a couple thousand. I'm not sure. This man probably got 50,000 or something set aside. He don't want to disclose his money.
I think he's got a little more than that saved up.
I think he got some money saved up. I'm being modest.
Because when we're talking severance and all that. So
I'm being modest, but I'm thinking, do you need to get over the fact that he's not physically working, but he's contributing? There's a difference between a lazy behind man laying him in my bed, eating chips and drinking Kool-Aid, than a financially set man who's doing whatever the heck he wants. Now, if you want to be jealous on that, I'll be like, baby, you got enough for me to lay around? And I'll clean the bathroom, you cook dinner, and us spend time together, and I don't have to work.
Right.
Do you have enough set up for that?
Because he brings up, he's like, if I go to work and I do that, I can do that. That's not an issue. But then the things that you're enjoying as far as the meals and the cleaning. Now, I'm going to just say this. I heard that, I was like, bro, that ain't enough. I'm sorry.
Not for a woman.
Right. So the fact that he cooks and cleans, that's great. Maybe he and Elijah Wan need to develop some kind of friendship. I don't know. But it was like, okay, I get that. And he was like, if I do go to work, then all of that kind of will suffer. And she was like, okay, but I can help contribute. He's like, but I don't trust that because you ain't done none of it yet. So I don't know that it's going to.
I would contribute. No, Dang.
True.
So I'm going to let you handle it. But I would ask, this is me, because I'm now in my late 40s.
This is you.
And I don't want to be working anymore. Yep. I'm like, do you got enough saved so that we can both be hanging out and learning each other?
Because he does say, have we had any issues? Is it basically, he's like, have I left you at the restaurant and said, oh, I forgot my wallet?
Right.
Have we gone to the grocery store and I pull out EBT card? He's like, have I done any of these things that would give you pause to think that I don't have the ability to take care of us financially?
Right. And to me, the question is, okay, so have they had the conversation? What does this look like from a year from now?
Right.
If you still haven't worked a year from now, what does this look like?
Right.
Will you need to get a job a year from now because you've gone through your same? Are you saying that we're going to be minimalist? Because by this time we have to leave this apartment. You are not living in a house. I'm not living in a house. Are we going to be able to buy a house based off of your savings? So those are the questions I would ask. Are you saying that we're going to just live out of your car and just go from state to state because I can work from anywhere? I think she needs to ask very specific questions, and just instead of saying, I don't need you to work, I don't need you to work, but I do need to know I want to buy a house and I want to have kids in so many years.
And she got to have 3, remember?
Right.
But she does say she needs something concrete. She needs a concrete plan about the financials. So I think, and we've said this, Steve just needs to do whatever he needs to do to make her feel secure.
Right.
Not that he has money, but what's the plan?
What's the plan?
What are you looking to do? How is this going to look, like you said, in a year from now? Now, I've looked on his LinkedIn. He still ain't got nothing recent. So my speculation, I'm not going to speak for both of us, but my speculation is Steve got money from family and he got money that he saved up, invested, whatever. There are some things, there's some clues. There's some clues in my opinion, in his LinkedIn profile that tell me that he might have gotten some payouts and some IPO type stuff going on. So
I'm just saying, include me in.
Yeah, for us, I mean, definitely. If I was like that, my goal would be, okay, if I can't get us both off, then I would go do what I need to do so that you can be off.
Right. And then I would look at, I said, okay, Steve, you're going to be off, but I want to live in a home.
Right.
Can you buy me a house?
And them houses in Boston is not cheap.
So,
because Boston's more expensive than where we are in Phoenix, and Phoenix is
it's working its way up there.
Yeah.
So if he can tell me on the end, the dude say, "Yeah, babe, anytime you're ready, we can go look at houses." You know,
she good.
And it's legal again, and it's legal.
She good.
I'm like, all right, let's go. Yeah. Do what you do.
So speaking of Elijah Wan and Katina, they meet with Dr. Viviana as well. And Dr. Viviana is trying to figure out, like I think all of us are trying to figure out, what is up with this food and cooking issue? What did you, she even asks, what did you do before you got married? Did you starve before you got married? No, it's just, this is what my wife should be doing now that I have a wife.
Jesus. He keeps saying, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a husband, and you need to do what you need to do as a wife. Maybe she said it to him, but I would check him on him being a good husband. Because being a part of a good husband is that you ain't gonna belittle me,
demean, insult,
tear about down. Cooking. First of all, you were married on first sight. You should have put that as a deal breaker. Because I will go back to what Pastor Cal said. Pastor Cal said, you never mentioned this as being a deal breaker.
You ain't bring none of this up, bro.
And I am trying to cook. I'm going to classes. We're having fun with this. Why can't we continue to have fun with this? If we just got into a marriage and I'm been single and eating out, stop asking for 3-course meals.
Because he calls her lazy too.
Yes.
And so she does work from home.
But she's working.
She got a job. And so, because he even said, you know, I don't see her work because I work at night. And so I'm assuming that he works at night. He sleeps during the day. She probably works during the day. So while he's sleeping, she's working. That kind of makes sense to me.
I work at home. We do chores on the weekend. Because if we have other stuff come up, we leave the house, have a couple hours. Yeah, can I put washing the dishes or something in that? Right. Or cooking? Yeah, but the way we're seen and the way it's being portrayed is that she has no skill and she ain't trying. She ain't trying to make no effort. She ain't doing nothing. She just working and then laying in bed all the rest of the time.
Because he also said he questions if mentally they're on the same level. And Dr. Viviana's like, wait, what? So he makes these statements that are insulting, they're condescending, they're demeaning, they're all of these things. And then says, well, it's not really that the cooking and the cleaning is the issue, but that's the thing you keep crying about. That's the thing you keep shedding tears over, is the fact that you're not getting a home-cooked meal and she's not cleaning to your standards.
Well, I'm like this. If we talk about life languages, right?
Love languages. Yeah, life languages.
Life languages. In that, there's a doer.
Right.
And the doer has to be moving. They seem like they're doing a lot of stuff, but they're just doing, you know, they seem like they're making progress, but they're doing.
Is that a doer or is that his ADHD?
It could be both. I mean, it could be both.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when that person doesn't see someone doing as much as them, like physically working.
And it's not even as much. They don't see what they think they're doing at that same level. So
it brings value.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so when you get caught up in that mindset, nothing reaches your standards.
Right.
But then you can call that other person, oh, you're being lazy. I never see you doing anything. Well, I'm getting things done. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean things are not being accomplished.
Right.
The goal is it being accomplished.
Right.
Not how. But it's more of you putting in, well, you're not doing it. You're not getting this done. And then I have to come in.
Because, I mean, when we got married, we had to, one of the things we had to come to understanding is, I'm not going to do it necessarily the way you want it done.
Right.
Or in the timing that you want it done.
Right.
But it'll get done.
It'll get done.
So, you know, and I think that's something that they're going to, but he's got these so archaic standards.
Right.
That it's like, okay, well, if you want her to just be barefoot and pregnant, because that's almost what he's saying.
And that's what it sounds like.
That's almost like where the next thing is that once they commit after these eight weeks, does he want Katina barefoot and pregnant? So it's like, okay, if you want that, if you want the traditional woman, then you need to be the traditional man. And you're not being that in many respects, right?
Yeah, and he has to think about, if he's gotten those examples in his past life, what gave those women the ability to do that?
Right.
Because I would want him to have that conversation now. Because that might have been a perception, but not reality.
Right.
You know, maybe they had to do that. Or maybe, well, your father worked. I didn't have to go to work.
Right.
So I had the whole day. And I have been home, home as a mom. But I made sure, like, if I'm going to be home, I never asked you to clean. I never asked you to do the dishes. I never asked you to cook or nothing. Because only thing I'm doing is taking care of the kids and getting them around. Right. I'm going to make sure those things gets done.
Yep. So yeah, he has unrealistic expectations of marriage and what that means. Dr. Viviana also called, and she at least... In the past few seasons, they've been non-existent. Partly, yes, because of COVID, but they still could have video conference. But she does come with some heat with some of the statements she makes. She says that you have some very, very flimsy ideas of what makes a wife. In other words, it's not based in anything except what you think you want. And so then he's like, well, the issue really is that she just needs to open up. Well, how do we get from you haven't cooked for me, you haven't cleaned, but what I'm really trying to get at is that you won't open up?
Well, because you see in the past, like even when they were on a honeymoon, he said he was pushing her when they worked out together. And then he said, only reason why I was doing that because I wanted to see if she was being real or fake. So he likes to throw tests in here to show where she is. Like I was just really trying to figure out, if she was going to be real with me or is she here for me? So he's the type of person that wants to test you.
Right.
So if I'm hearing him correctly, he's testing, trying to push her buttons to get her to speak out and be open and piss her off.
He gonna hit that wrong button and she gonna be gone. She's gonna be gone.
Because I'd rather you say, I need you to be more open and I don't know how to get you there.
Right.
Then you be poking at me.
Right.
And then I go off on you and then you're like, oh, that's what I wanted. Oh, no. No, you didn't want this. Because this is getting me out the door.
So she does say that, she will go ahead and work to do that, right? To open up for him.
Yeah, she's trying to, she's like, I need to be open. She's agreeing with that.
Right.
But I just want to make sure she's staying balanced.
Right.
Not because she wants to stay married.
Because it's sometimes painful to watch because it's almost like he's beating her down, her identity as a woman, her identity as a wife. And so that's the thing I don't want for her, is that she gets to this place where she becomes the woman from Coming to America, whatever you like, a bark like a dog. I don't want her to get there but that's kind of what he's trying to beat her down in that kind of a mode, is my opinion.
I hope not. I mean, because there's nothing, everyone needs improvement.
Right.
And people do make you better.
Yeah.
And if she's seeing that, okay, that's a fair statement in that point, and I can work on that. But all this other stuff.
Yep.
She needs to speak out like, you're not going to talk to me like this. So you want to try again?
Yep.
And if you don't like something, then let's wait until I try it 2 or 3 times before you mention something.
Yeah. So she creates a movie night experience for him. So she did cook some Reese's Pieces and some Hershey Kisses for him.
And he was very receptive, like, oh, this is what I was looking for. So are you just wanting her to
to cater to you?
I wouldn't say cater. I want to say make an effort, like, I do care. You want people to do something special for you.
Right.
And which is fine, but don't think because that's your love language, that's her love language.
Right.
So I can see him saying, oh, that's my love language, that you do, signs of affection or services. But at the same time, you can't expect that to be her love language because you're doing that for her all of the time.
Right.
That's how she responds.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And then they get their box from Dr. Viviana. Theirs wasn't as cringy as Mark and Lindsay, in my opinion.
It's the same box except without the gag ball.
Well, we never said the ball gag, so. But
they didn't have one.
Okay, so yeah, it was a little less cringeworthy, in my opinion.
But normally you wear the same outfit and you put the ball gag.
Yeah, but
it varies of degrees.
Yes. Yes. So yeah.
But again, you can see how every gift is different.
Right.
For theirs, they wanted her to be more dominating and him to be more submissive.
And she put a dog collar on him.
She sure did. And she had no problem doing it. She didn't second guess that.
Nope.
She ain't had to think about it twice.
She should have gotten a little more frustration out with that riding crop. She
should have hit him a little hard. But he was popping.
Yeah.
So she was putting a little effort in it, I think.
So yeah. Okay. So then.
And he was like, oh, she really opened up. Yeah, she got all her frustrations out on your behind.
And at this point, they still have not consummated their relationship.
I'm in agreement with it. Only because I'd rather them see them continue to work through this. And then if they decide yes, I'm assuming that's going to open up really soon for both of them.
Right.
Because right now, they really do need to get to know each other and see if they can get beyond this cooking thing, her response to it, and how he's responding to her not cooking.
Right. And then in the other apartment 3C, Jasmina and Michael.
I know the apartment number.
I don't know the apartment number.
It's so stupid.
I just say random stuff. Y'all know this. But Jasmina and Michael are having a conversation, and he makes a statement that it was he's like, I'm not your enemy. And because I think that that's something that she needs to be reminded of. We can kind of get into it, but they kind of they have like little questions that were given to them that they start asking each other. And so they kind of go back and forth. She shares an embarrassing moment from high school, and he responds with empathy. He's like, oh my goodness, so how did you feel? He's asking her these questions from someone who cares.
Right.
He starts to tell his story, and she starts laughing. And he's like, wait, I'm not going to say it then, because they're sharing their embarrassing moments, right? For him to respond with empathy and her to respond with laughter at it, to me, that doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well with me if I'm sharing a moment that was embarrassing for me.
Again, it depends on the person. If you were embarrassed by it, but you thought it was funny, you thought of it as an adult, it was funny to you.
Right.
But as a child, you're like...
It was traumatic.
It was traumatic. I think you probably wouldn't want to lead with that.
Right.
Because you don't know, like, oh man, this happened to me. Ha ha ha. This is what happened to me. Because we could talk about like being on ice and we fell as a kid. Yeah. That was embarrassing.
Right.
But we thought it was hilarious after the fact.
Right.
So, but I get what you're saying.
It's like read the room.
Right.
If he had started off like you said, like, I can laugh about it now, but this is what they used to call me, da da da.
Right.
Then yeah, she could laugh with him about it.
Right.
But there is nothing that gave that impression.
No, when you're talking about being embarrassed as a kid with other children,
right,
and then the other children give you a nickname from it lasts forever. It never dies, because it goes back to that memory, especially when all the kids live in the same neighborhood and you go to elementary school for 6 years.
And then y'all go to high school.
Middle school. And the only thing they can refer back is to when
you did something from 2nd grade.
Right. So I would first say, well, how do you feel about, again, but I don't feel like she's been that type of person where she shows empathy.
No.
Just genuinely. But we got to go back to the moment where he was sharing about his brother dying.
Right.
So there she did show empathy.
I'll give credit for that, yes.
So it's like, okay, was she in the moment of thinking, oh, this is just going to be a little fun exercise and he's giving me something fun, or is she doing a little banter here? Right. I guess, again, we don't have the full picture. They cut the scenes, True. Right? So, but I think for him, because he's been through so much, he's looking always through a lens of trauma. Of trauma.
Yeah.
And how this, could have affected her or hurt her.
Right.
Because of all the stuff he's been through in her life.
So they meet with Dr. Viviana as well. And again, they are not physically intimate at all.
They're not even cuddling or
holding hands or anything like that.
But she don't sound like a person that's PDA anyway.
Well, she says, she's like, I have to feel you emotionally before I get there, right? And she says that there are times that it feels like they're just coexisting. That Michael just traded his other 2 female roommates for her as a roommate.
I believe that.
It's very possible, right? But the other thing is that he's letting her take the lead on the physicality. So he is trying to do like a lot of the guys will do. Mark didn't do it because Mark was like, I'm gonna make my move and get it.
And he knew she was gonna give it up. But anyway,
that's a whole other story. But
you don't make your move unless you know the signals are there.
Right. And for her, the signals, no, I'm not going to say that. All right.
Lit up like an airport.
Okay. So, but he's like, look, I'm kind of letting her take the lead on that. And she was like, Dr. Viviana was like, well, did you know that was the case? And that's when she was like, well, it kind of works out well because I don't necessarily, have fluids because if I don't have that connection.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I get what both of them are saying.
I do.
But at the same time, you would think he would make an effort like, can I hold your hand? I mean, it's just cute little stuff of like dating, right?
Right.
Like, don't mind. Because she keeps mentioning how, she likes his muscles and stuff like this.
And he likes her smile. They're attracted to each other.
They're attracted to each other. But at the same time, bro, man need to at least try, right? I can at least ask. She's still taking the lead by saying yes or no.
Right.
So he could at least say, can I hold your hand?
Right.
And I don't think she's going to say no.
Right.
And then that creates that emotional connection. Mm-hmm. So then the juices will start flowing when you make those, slight moves in the right direction.
But he in his defense though, also he because he makes a statement, he's like, he feels that she can throw out this aggressive and disrespect out at any moment. So it's also like, do I make a move? And now because I'm just talking to you, because when I've been talking to you, you consider me aggressive and disrespectful. Now, if I make a move by holding your hand or trying to kiss you or anything of that nature, am I now going to get another accusation?
Did you hear what I said, though? You missed it.
Go ahead.
Axe.
Yes.
So,
but hold on. No, because even when he asked her, help me talk, help me communicate. Watch your tone, Michael. And the way she says, Michael.
No.
She talking to Michael like he a 3-year-old. Michael, what did I say?
No. There's a difference. Because again, she has her defenses up. She is trying to have a strong front where she's just a hurt person. So you have to be a strong man to say, okay, I don't marry someone at first sight. I'm going to ask.
Okay.
And asking, and she's like, and play into it. If you really want it, play into it. Okay, can I hold your hand? You're making a little bit of fun out of it, but at the same time, you're trying. Because she keeps saying that he ain't trying when he is trying. But okay, we want to play games. I'm gonna go ahead and play a game with you and see if you really like how I'm gonna come the way you're asking me to come. Mm-hmm. But again, as we go on, right, they're given an exercise.
Yep. Well, they do have before that though. They have another conversation, and again, he's just trying to use like. Because Dr. Viviana gave the idea of, why don't you all try journaling your ideas and thoughts, and then that way you kind of come and have that discussion from that. So he's like, what we've been doing is not working. Can we try that? Nope, I ain't journaling nothing. I don't see any value in journaling.
Right. And I'm like, why are you scared to journal?
Because she's an ice queen.
Because like, why are you scared to journal? And then she's like, I need to get up and take a break. Hold that thought. He's like, don't interrupt me. Let me talk.
Yeah.
So she goes out. And then she says, well, I was given a different idea. Why don't we just talk? And then we tell each other when we finish talking. And the producer's like, why don't you go inside and say that to him? Because you sure didn't say that on tape. You did not say that on tape.
Because, listen.
I was like, what?
We were confused by what she said.
I was confused.
She was confused by what she said.
She didn't know
so
what
we
she
know
said.
Michael's sitting there like, what?
Is she okay? And it happens in marriage, right? We're having a conversation. You say you don't want to do anything. Someone says something where you like, oh, but da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you go, well, why are we keep going back and forth? I wanted to do this. And he's like, you didn't say there was another option.
Right.
It's not about the journaling. It's about doing something different. If you want to do that, we can do that. But you didn't say that.
You wouldn't come up with no ideas. You had all these ideas trapped in your head.
It was trapped in your head, never came out your mouth.
Because you were so busy cutting me off.
Because you were cutting me off. And in marriage and in relationships, we do that. We're talking back and forth. Well, didn't I say that? No, you never said that. That's why we're having this argument.
You acknowledge that happens?
It does happen.
Okay.
I agree it happens. That I thought I said something.
It's going to be recorded on YouTube. Shut up. Now I'm going to play this.
Listen.
Remember,
I thought I said something. And then I didn't. And that's why we have to be in remember what we learned. Mm-hmm. What I hear you saying is this.
Yep.
And I go, no, I said such and such. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't really say that. Maybe you thought it.
Right.
But you didn't say it.
So they do have the tantric yoga, which I think is become like a staple. Every couple, at least one couple a year, has to go through tantric yoga.
Yeah.
So it does help them to, again, make some connection.
Make some connection.
And then they do the blindfold answer exercise. Mm-hmm. So there is, again, I don't think that they're going to last. I don't. But I think the experts had something with them. I think that they both are just getting in their own way of love.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes you're going to have to say yes to grow.
True.
Because at the end of that, by the end of their night, she admits, she does admit mm-hmm. where she was wrong.
Right.
And he's like, this is the first time I've had her admit that
she acknowledges that she cuts him off. She acknowledges that she's been kind of cold towards him and everything.
Correct.
So again, there's growth, and there has to be growth for them. I just don't know that. I think this was, like she said, this is a great sequence of events, but right around the corner, there's another cycle of we can't communicate. You're aggressive. Your tone, Michael, talking to him like he's a 3-year-old.
Well, again, she's so positive, supposedly, right? She don't think there's going to be any of the issues. But what she has to realize as she's awakening to where she's making the mistakes, mm-hmm. that she's part of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if they can recognize, look, we can be a good couple, but we're going to have to continue to work on each other mm-hmm. and make therapy a part of our life.
Absolutely.
But people got to be vulnerable enough to say, I'm willing to try that because I feel like we have something.
Yeah.
They got to get, like you said, they got to get out of their own way.
So a couple other things that were in the episode. They, of course, the guys went and played ice hockey. Mm-hmm. The ladies did aerial yoga mm-hmm. And had conversations. Something else that was, Lindsay was kind of talking about the guys that she normally dates and how, they're all at this level. And it's like, but if that's the case, you always at that level, but you ain't got none of them.
She said they're not husband type. Husband material. So I don't know what that means.
I know what that means, but this is a family type of show, so I ain't gonna say nothing that basically makes it seem like she, yeah.
Okay. You tell me later.
I'll tell you later. Just yeah. Basically, she's a plaything for wealthy men, is what she even kind of puts herself to be.
Oh.
If the way I'm hearing her, interpreting her, she's like, I deal with all these high men, but they're not husband material, which means they just want to play with you.
Well,
so
she's very entertaining.
Yeah, but not that way. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. And then on the after party, shout out to Kev on stage who graced the after party.
Right.
But something that came out there, which was like, basically, Lindsay was saying how Basic Girl was texting her Basic Girl and Mark were like in each other's DMs, whatever, kind of texting each other. Okay. And that Basic Girl was always still at the apartment coming through, hanging out on the roof and hanging out with the ladies? Yes. But also having conversations with Mark, and she confronted Mark about it, and Mark was like, well, you know, I want everybody to like me, and I'm just checking on her, da-da-da. So
I can see Mark wanting everybody to like him.
Yes, definitely.
I see that. I don't think Mark's attracted to her.
No.
So that'd be laughable. So I wouldn't even pay anything. But I'll be like, you know, just be careful, you know, like.
But even Elijah Wan kind of co-signed, was like, yeah, she there a lot.
Oh, she did.
She there a lot. Like, she get off work and come to the apartment. It's kind of the impression that we get.
So then she's still trying to attach herself to.
Yes, because she wants
the limelight.
Right. So, but I'm just glad we haven't seen her on camera anymore.
No, because she's divorced. Right. So we'll see her when it comes to the reunion.
And I doubt she stays long. So.
Oh, she's probably gonna try to make her little grand appearance. Make sure she get a cry out of it.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I would think that's just weird to me.
It is.
I know they all have connections because of the experiment and everything, and they tend to still be friends, I guess. I don't know. So,
all right. Well, look, that's it for this episode or this video and recap. We will see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.
Bye.